Good afternoon to one and all. Thank you, Jose, for inviting to Rheinland for presenting about standardization. We had a lot of topics that were discussed today when it comes to product and the service that's being offered to the users here in India. The main point that I would like to start here with is when Mr. Vijay was asked two questions. The first question was, what's the cost, the price? And the next question was, what's the reliability? So the Indian market is basically driven because of price. So who's going to take care of the reliability part? Or how is one going to define to what standards the reliability are, right? So that's where basically companies like TUV Rheinland steps in to introduce standards and benchmarking aspects. So where and all do we benchmark? So benchmarking basically not only about products, the process that is being used to develop a product as an output also needs benchmarking. So how do you basically benchmark something? So you benchmark with your own internal quality standards. You would also benchmark with the competitor products, but can you always say that I'm equal to them without having a reference? So the benchmarking basically gives a good input to one and all on how do you improve your quality, because quality is always an improvement in work in process. But can you say that all of us stand on the same platform without referring to a specific document? So that document is what is called as standard. So what does a standard say? Standard has a lot of guidelines which talks about how do you develop a product, how the product should be safe to a user, because no user basically checks when he puts out a checklist when he goes for a product selection, is this product safe? The first thing that he puts down in his checklist is, what's the price? Is it having a good performance? Is it reliable? Is it useful for me? What's the end application? So the safety part doesn't basically fit into his checklist. So it becomes a responsibility of us, the people who are developing products, to take care of the safety. Because I believe nobody is being trained to understand what's a shock until somebody gets one. There's no school curriculum, there's no college curriculum which says what's a shock, right? So when a product is being developed, it has to be developed in a way that it's safer to the users. So, yeah. So standard also helps customers to put the product on a much accessible level. So when a government is putting up a tender to procure products for setting up a smart city, one of the criteria in the tender should also be that do they meet a specific standard requirement before going into the price aspects of the selection. So there are different kinds of standards that comes into picture. Standards for processes, which many of you would have heard of, the ISO 9001, the 14000. The standards for products. So based on product that you develop, there are different kinds of standards. So we heard about products like smart meters, smart batteries. We also had a battery which is having a different technology, which is which is using water and hydrogen to work on. Right, so standards are being evolved based on technology. So there are no standards where you take a reference for a new technology. Technology always supersedes a standard. So who basically develops standards? The contribution from the R&D houses, the contribution from the manufacturers of new technology contributes to standardization. So standard helps you to benchmark in this way. So people who qualify the product as per a standard also has a standard to deliver a service. Like TUV Rheinland, we offer testing and certification service, but we also have to be standardized in the way we offer the service. So there are laboratory qualification standards like 17025. There are also inspection standards like 17020. So there are a lot of standards which one can adopt. One has to implement, refer whenever they put a product into the market. Right. So the other topic as well, when we had today was Mr. Vijay was trying to explain very hardly how reliable the product is. He had to put in a lot of explanation, as well as we also had a topic that we should put up a digital screen in Bangalore MG Road to give a scorecard. Why do we do all this? This is to bring in awareness. The main point is all of you would have basically seen the ISI logo on the product. You might have seen many of these logos on the products. Even now, that would be on your mobile as well. But what do you know about them? What is the importance of these marks? So Mr. Vijay could have simply mentioned that my product is tested as per so-and-so standard. I have this logo on it. Instead of making 5 different sentences to convince somebody, is my product reliable? So that's where basically standard and certification helps you, that you don't have to get into too much of explanation of what basically transpires between qualifying a product as per a standard. So there are a lot of regulations that also brings in clarity, transparency in this. TUV Rheinland also brings in a QR code in the certification mark. So if you find a TUV Rheinland logo on any of the product and scan the QR code, you will get to know what are all the different kinds of evaluations a product has undergone. So you don't have to print a lot of brochures, don't have to go out and market what are the qualities of a product. There's an awareness how you can bring it across to the users. So what after the product is tested, certified and marked and being put in the market? So the regulators, the government should also look into the aspects of surveillance. So surveillance is one such activity where the product, after being placed in the market, is being picked, brought back to the select laboratories and revalidated whether the initially tested product is the same as the one that is there in the market. So there needs to be again a benchmarking. So surveillance is one of the activities that is being practiced across the globe. In India, it is as well being practiced, but it's not as strict as in the Western world. So where do TUV Rheinland stand in helping the community here? TUV Rheinland has a rich experience of developing standards, implementing standards, testing products as per the standards. So we bring in this global knowledge into India. We are being partners for various technical committees of the governments, helping them to develop standards here, implement the standards across the Indian laboratories, as well support and scalability. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the compulsory registration scheme that's there in India for IT audio video products, which mandated 13 products, but the products that were mandated were huge in number. So there were just 8 labs that time. So we help other laboratories as well to benchmark themselves with us, to support scalability and support manufacturers in meeting the standard requirements. So how do we do this? We have 6 business streams and multiple business fields. So we have close to about 2,000 different type of services. We cater to products, we cater to elevator testing, we cater to cyber security, data management, privacy, product level, medical product systems. So the services, the standards exist for all of these activities. We are in the industry since 1872 across the globe, and we have been part of the development in standards and supporting various industries, starting from photovoltaics, then to medical industry, then to IoT and wireless. This is as well true when it comes to India. We started in 1996, and in 2010 we were the first Indian laboratory, a private lab, to start an international certification program for Indian manufacturers exporting for global market. We were the first to set up EMIMC chamber wherein you can do radiation testing, where the disturbances, a common phenomena in the olden times where you keep your phone very close to the TV used to flicker. So that's the kind of radiation that we measured so that the product doesn't disturb something else, and the product that gets disturbed as well is to a lesser impact. We are across India, headquartered in Bangalore. We have a lab in Bangalore as well as in Gurgaon to support the product testings. We have been part of this cycle. We are here to develop, we are here to support, we want to be the engine of the modern society. So please reach us out in any kind of standard testing and customized testing services as well. Right? Thank you. I hope I'm on time.